I'm Kate Durden, a graduate student at the University of West Florida. Today we're going to be talking about transformative learning theory. As always, we're going to get started with some intro vocabulary to set the scene. First, we're going to be talking a lot about frames of reference. Frames of reference are structures of assumptions through which we understand our experiences. They're like our conceptual, moral, and cognitive roadmaps. You'll also hear the term prior knowledge. This is just the stuff we've learned before. This has come from life experiences, traditional education, or self-exploration. I also want to quickly address the word transform. It comes from the Latin transformare, which means to change or shape or metamorphose. So with transformation, we're not building something new, we're changing something that already exists. So, what is transformative learning theory? In its simplest form, it's the idea that we can change our firmly held beliefs when presented with new information. We've all heard the cliche, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. According to Jack Mesereau, who first developed the theory, apparently, you can. Mesereau studied adult learners and found that when they engaged in learning activities, they had to reconcile new information with frames of reference that they'd established earlier in life. Children don't already have these strongly held foundational beliefs, which is what makes adult learning so different from the education of children. Think of K-12 education as building a house. Adult education is like a major renovation. This is a similar theory to constructivism, though there are some crucial differences. In constructivism, we take prior knowledge and combine it with new input to create new knowledge that will differ from learner to learner. For example, if I've been bitten by a pig before, I might have a different feeling about the moral of the Three Little Pigs than someone who grew up loving Charlotte's Web. In transformation, we all still bring our prior knowledge to the learning process, but instead of constructing a new meaning, we aim to look back at our prior knowledge and examine how this new information fits into our previous frames of reference. So what Mesereau and other researchers like Jürgen Habermas are saying is that there are a couple ways we can intake information which inform our ability to update and reframe our previous references. In instrumental learning, we can use empirical evidence to change belief structures. Say I've done some research and made a hypothesis like coconuts grow best in a temperate climate. I can perform an experiment and get data to support or nullify my hypothesis. If I perform my experiment and I was presented with empirical evidence that my hypothesis was incorrect, I could update my hypothesis and it would be easy to understand that my original belief was wrong or misguided. Communicative learning is when things get a little dicier. What if my hypothesis is that coconuts are gross? How can I perform an experiment to prove that? According to Mesereau, we rely on other trusted sources to come to a conclusion in areas where empirical evidence isn't possible. One way we can do this is through discourse. We can talk it out and maybe someone who likes coconuts convinces me to change my mind. Or maybe I come to realize that even if I don't like coconuts, it's okay for others to like them. It's important that we are open to hearing other points of view, and the more interpretations we have access to, the more likely we are to draw new conclusions and common understandings. There are 4 processes of learning that are related to building or transforming our frames of reference. First, we can elaborate on our existing points of view. Keeping with our coconut theme, since I don't like coconut, I might seek out groups online who also don't like coconuts to find even more evidence for why they're terrible. Second, we can form new points of view that align with our previous ones. Maybe I can find even more fruits I don't like based on what I know about coconuts. Third, we can transform our point of view. Instead of talking to other coconut haters, I can talk to people who love them and find some new recipes and appreciation for them. Finally, I can reflect back on my point of view. How did I form that frame of reference in the first place? Are there other biases, assumptions, or conclusions that I should examine as well? It's important to note that if new information stays in line with our existing frame of reference, transformative learning will not take place. We need to be challenged. So what about instructional design? I think the big takeaway here is that many instructional designers are tasked with creating training and lessons that are geared toward adult learners. From job training modules to public health initiatives, instructional designers are asked to create products that are meant to change or augment these frames of reference. As Mesereau says, transformative learning is not an add-on, it is the essence of adult education. He explains that there is a process for transforming frames of reference that includes critical reflection of assumptions, validating contested beliefs through discourse, taking action on one's reflective insight, and critically assessing it. As the practitioners responsible for educating adults, we have to create opportunities for learners to self-reflect, work together, and learn from each other. Here are some references, but I've also linked them below. As always, thank you for your time.